Project this week, you are going to be creating a still life drawing of objects that represent yourself or are of things that you like. A still life painting or drawing is a painting or a drawing of inanimate objects as its subject matter. These items you usually are put on a table, and they oftentimes include different types of food such as fruit or flowers, or different types of household items like glassware or textiles and fabric. The earliest known still life paintings were created by the Egyptians in the 15th century BCE. Here are some examples of different still life paintings throughout history. Still life paintings became very prominent during the Renaissance age of art, which is around the 1600s. And they oftentimes included just an array of different objects. Here you see a skull, you have a flower, there's a compass over here. It looks like there's a note with a pen, a feather pen in the background, and you have a candle. Oftentimes there was symbolism within these paintings, so all of the objects in the paintings mean something. Then you also have just a painting of a basket of flowers, done very well. As you move throughout history into the post-impressionist era, where the artist Vincent van Gogh would be considered an artist during this time, and you can see here's his painting of, or his still life painting of a bouquet of sunflowers. And there's also over here is the artist Paul Cézanne, who, as in the previous photos, the work is not as realistic. It's a little bit more abstract. You can see kind of the brush strokes. I really like his work a lot. You can find it at the DIA. But he did some fruit. You see a piece of glassware. There's a knife. There's a little bowl. As you continue throughout history to the contemporary era of art, the styles you can see have changed quite a bit. The ice cream and dessert painting is by Wayne Thiebaud, and you can see that he uses glasses as his subject matter filled with desserts. And over here, I'm not quite sure who the artist is, but they have more of a stylized approach to creating their still life, like a comic book. You can see all of these dots that you might find in a comic book, but they are still arranging objects on a table. You can see a paintbrush, you got some vases, a picture frame, there's some bottles of stuff. In the background, you have flowers, and there is a drapery or fabric in the background. Coming into more of like the modern era, what you might see today, there's a type of art called hyperrealism. And these are paintings or drawings that, or sculptures that actually resemble a high resolution photograph. So I think these are really amazing. I could never do this. But these are actually paintings, not pictures like you might think. But they employ the same techniques in their still lifes, have different objects arranged on a table. So for your assignment, you're going to be creating your own still life drawing. You need to choose between 3 to 5 objects for your still life. So once you have your objects, you need to arrange them on your table when you take a picture. After you take your picture, you can look at the picture to help you draw. Here could be another idea. I also really like to play sports. I like drawing and doing other art-related things. These are one of my favorite pairs of shoes. Some other things that would describe me, but notice how I have the tennis racket going kind of horizontally, and then I've kind of propped up my shoe on the marker box, kind of put the brushes inside my shoe and put the tennis ball kind of in the center of it.
So at this point, you should have already taken the picture of the objects that you chose for your still life. You're going to need to get a blank piece of paper, preferably, and you're going to need a pencil. You'll also want to have the picture to look at of your objects. I am using my computer to look at what I'm drawing. And then you're going to go ahead and start sketching out your still life on your paper.
When you're drawing your still life, you want to make sure you're taking your time. Also, it's okay if your still life doesn't fit entirely on the paper. Like some of it might go off of the paper. Like I think for my tennis racket. I'm not going to be able to fit the whole racket on this page because there's not enough room. Once your drawing is finished, you are going to want to color your drawing using some sort of coloring material. I'm going to use colored pencils. If you want to trace your drawing with a Sharpie or like a black pen to make your lines stand out more, you can, but it's not necessary. I'm not going to do it on mine. Oh, shoot. When you're coloring, make sure you take your time. Be neat. You are in middle school. You shouldn't be coloring like a kindergartner. And there you go. There's my finished drawing of my still life of things that represent me or things that I like.